Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian on nothing, control everything. Definitely doing a heavy what is this? A heavy trustee load, a heavy episode load. This is episode 586, Trust Equals Integrity. Definitely gotta do this episode to put people on notice. Uh, you know, it's interesting that you gotta put the public on notice, but it's fine, so we got people that want to come to this next workshop August 24th, and we're just putting people on notice about how the room's gonna play out, how integrity's gonna play out. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Feel free to type into the chat where you listening live, listen, replay from. This is the Vault episode 586, Trust Equals Integrity. And so we're just going to talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. So, it's one of those things where it's based off your word. People, they come to the vault all the time and they say, "Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I want to be in trusteeship. I want to build generational wealth." Ladies and gentlemen, your family estate, your family trust, is going to be built on integrity, and that's the way it's going to last from generation to generation. We already know that. First of all, from the statistics that we've seen with trustees, ladies and gentlemen, they say 70% fall off after Gen 1. And Gen 2 it goes to over 80. So the chances of the family estate lasting for multiple generations are very not high. They're low. Why are they so low, Trust Christian Vault? Because people don't have integrity. Sometimes you got to keep the books. You got to have a quality system in place. You got to have a team in place that can stand on, that the entity can stand on with or without you. That's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. Trust equals integrity. So we'll give you an example. We had to deal with someone that was in trusteeship recently, and we had to get something done, ladies and gentlemen. And in all actuality, the vault had to show up. Trust Christian and the vault had to show up, and we just had to send a message to them and say, "Look, this is how we can move forward." Well, when we found out that the message didn't go through, we didn't blame anybody. We just did what we were supposed to do. We just, at that point, said we got to acknowledge that we didn't send it and we got to send the message properly. What's interesting is once we sent the message, because it didn't go out the first time, in all actuality, the other party, they didn't have any adverse reaction. They actually were like, "Thanks for putting us on notice and thanks for letting us know." But if people are not operating in integrity, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to get weeded out of trusteeship. That's a fact. So we just want to say that when we deal with trustees across the country and around the world, actually, it's all about integrity. Not just about trust, about integrity. Keeping your word, not just your word to Trust Christian Vault, but keeping the word to yourself. You first tell yourself a lie before you tell anybody else a lie. That's a spiritual code. So this episode 586, the Vault episode 586, Trust Equals Integrity, is really about, do you do what you tell the Vault and Trust Christian that you're going to do? Because we paying attention, ladies and gentlemen. We've been in this environment for a long time now, maybe a little too long. And in all actuality, ladies and gentlemen, the best thing to do is to what? To act on the things that you say you're going to do. This one trustee said, "Oh, Trust Christian Vault, you said you was going to do this for us and do that for us." And we'll say, "Okay, well, did you uphold your part?" And then they had to assess themselves. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the Vault is a information platform and a resource for trustees and trusteeship. It's actually a support system for trustees and trusteeship. We're talking about adding to your team. We're talking about adding insurance to your family estate, and we're talking about getting it funded. That's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate everybody that does that. Feel free to reach out through the link on the bottom to reserve your ticket for the Trustee Training Workshop coming up, the Asset Protection and Estate Planning Workshop coming up. Once again, we had to do this episode about what you call, what do they call it? Integrity. Because it seems to us that it's one of those things we just got to address. That if you don't act in integrity, ladies and gentlemen, that's not going to be something we tolerate. That's not something that we're going to deal with. And we just putting everybody on notice. That's the facts. You know, we got to stand up for trusteeship. Why do you think trusts are so private? Not all of them, but some of them. Because they stand on integrity. They have family values that we're exuding. Hard work, integrity is one of them. Not just in deed, but in word. Integrity. Trust equals integrity. Integrity is a standard, a statute for the family. Isn't that the same thing as trusteeship? Isn't that the same thing as trust? A standard, a entity, a structure for people to rely on. You can rely on integrity, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you can. That's why Donald Trump ain't been put up in no bars yet. I promise you that. Trust Christian Involved, I promise you that. If Donald Trump was corrupt, if people try to talk all this stuff, all they want. Well, do you see how integrity wins in the end? If you ever question is good and bad going to win, who's going to win in a good and bad? Good, because it stands on integrity. And that's what we stand on at the vault. So we look forward to seeing everybody at the workshop that's going to stand on integrity and people reaching out to the vault that's going to stand on integrity. That's what we stand on at the vault. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate it. The ticket price right now at $305. Of course, once again, they went up. They might go up again. And that's just for the sake of the tightness in the room. So if you want to get in at that $305 price, feel free to reach out. We have a bunch of free consultations that we've given out prior to the event, and we're going to still do that. Christian at trustchristian.com, Christian at trustchristian.com. Peace and joy.